Hi everyone, it's James here. Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about buying records at affordable prices. Now, this is a video I've been intending to make for many years. And part of what's decided me finally to make it is I watched a great video this morning from Bryan at the Institute of Pop. Do check him out. He was doing a video about buying records from market traders, specifically talking about when you go to a place, a different town or a place where you don't normally go, and you buy records from market traders, you pay over the odds for them, you get them home, and then you realise that maybe the condition is not what you were expecting, but because you bought the record from further afield than you would normally go, there's no way of getting a refund. There's no way of, taking that record back without travelling a long distance. And I really felt for Bryan when he was describing that thing of bringing a record home that you've been really pleased to find it. You put it on the turntable and it's just bacon and eggs, and it's so frustrating. And I left a comment on his video saying that I'm quite lucky now because I've got this regular market trader who I buy from every Saturday. Well, not every Saturday, but they come to town every Saturday. Heightside Records, who are from Yorkshire, actually, they're from Todmorden, but they come to Lancaster every Saturday, and I go down there a lot. I don't go down there every weekend anymore, but I do go down there quite regularly. And what's good about the Heightside guys, Robin and his dad, well, there's a few different things. The main thing is that their stuff is affordable, it's a good price. It's not always the price I want, and I might talk about that in a minute, but in general, their pricing is really good. The condition is generally really good. If the condition is not really good, they will mark the records up and they will put a thing, they'll put a note in the record saying, surface noise on side one, bit crackly, that kind of thing, just, so you know, and they will adjust the price accordingly. But the main thing about Heightside for me is that if I buy a record from them and the condition is not great, I decide actually that's a bit too noisy, I can just take the record back the next week and I get either a refund, or more normally I'll just get to exchange the record for something else. So I never feel under pressure. I never feel kind of, I don't want to take a punt on this because it might turn out to be not what I want in terms of condition, because I know I can always take it back, which is not the situation that Bryan was describing. So it really annoys me, this idea that a market trader or anybody would sell a record and it's it's below par, it has a skip in it, bacon and eggs noise. I mean, this can happen across the board. It happens in charity shops. It's really annoying at the moment in Waterstones in Lancaster. There's a record for sale there. I forget who it's by, but they've got it priced at £20, and there's a thing on the inside, on the plastic sleeve saying record is warped but plays okay. To me, that's ridiculous. You don't sell a warped record for £20. I mean, maybe it did play okay to the guy who tested it on his turntable, but I'm not going to buy a warped record because it might not play on my record player. And it's just the spirit of the thing. A warped record is a damaged record. It's damaged goods. You should put it in the bin. Don't even put it out for sale for like £5, 20p. It's warped. £20. It really annoys me. And we all know this, we go around to record shops and market traders. Antiques fairs often have a very random pricing strategy, so-called, and it can be very difficult sometimes to work out what their thinking is, and this is the video I was going to make a while ago. It's this thing about record seller mentality and record buyer mentality as well. And I think the two things often are out of sync with each other. And I sometimes wonder about the record seller mentality. I think it's almost as if a lot of them don't understand that what we record buyers want actually is a bargain. This goes for all kinds of different areas of life. People in general want a bargain, don't they? When you go out to a shop, generally speaking, you don't want to pay over the odds, for anything. If I go and buy a new car, I will be looking to get a bargain. I will be looking to get a good make of car with the condition I want, but mainly I'll be looking to get it, under budget, on budget or under budget. I won't be looking to pay over the odds for it. Same for a house. I'm not going to deliberately go out and look for a house that's really expensive and which is going to break the bank. I'm going to go looking for a house which is affordable to me, and I'm going to hopefully want to get a bargain on that house. I'm going to want to barter the sellers down a little bit, and I just want a bargain. essentially. And I sometimes think that record sellers, perhaps they don't realize that, or maybe what it is that there are not enough record buyers in the world who have that mentality. A lot of the time, record buyers go out and we do pay over the odds for records. I've done it myself. I'm not saying that I'm guiltless in this respect. You know, we all do it at certain points. We buy a record because we see it in the wild, we really want it. It's more than we want to pay for it, but we buy it anyway because we really, really want it. So record sellers just get this idea, oh yeah, record buyers are happy to shell out, and they're happy to shell out over the odds for certain records, therefore I'm going to price everything up. And you know, to me, as I said, my mentality as a record buyer is to want a bargain. I want to take something home and think, great, I got a real good bargain on that. And again, this is where the Heightside guys are really good, because they will cut you a bargain. I'm going to show a few records that I got as a bargain, not just from them, but from some other sellers as well. So Hot Rats, I picked that up from Heightside a few months ago now. Got this for £10, which I thought was a real bargain. This was, I don't think, yeah, this was Heightside again. This was Headhunters by Herbie Hancock, a record I've been after for a long time. You know, there's a bit of wear on this, but I got this again. I think this was about £10. £10 to me is a really great price for a record. I don't much like the price £15, and I must say Robin and his dad do sometimes have stuff marked up at £15, and you know, I get it. I mean, just as a little sort of qualifier here, I'm not a record seller. I never have been. I've never been a market trader. I've never run a record shop. I've never even sold a record at a car boot sale or anything like that. So, you know, I don't necessarily understand the ins and outs of it. I understand if you have a shop and you're paying the rates for it, you're paying, you know, the rental on the building, and you might need to price things up in order to, you know, make some profit. I totally get that. I also get that there are some records that are genuinely worth something, as in they're very scarce records. And I do understand that. I'm not saying that every record in the world should be £10. Yeah, I mean, I just have a buyer's mentality. I don't have a seller's mentality at all. So I definitely come at this from one side of the fence. But £15 records slightly annoy me because they're kind of like, they're halfway in between. Ideally, I would like to pay £10. I would pay £20 for a record that I think is really desirable and that I really want. And in fact, I've got two records to show you at the end here that I've spent £20 on. And to me, they are examples of what I would spend £20 on to get a record, but we'll get to those last. But £15 to me, I find it a bit annoying. It's like, it's £5 more than I want to pay just for a casual purchase. Yeah, anyway. Rush, again, bought from the Heightside guys. This was £10 again, which I thought was a real bargain. I've seen Rush records going for more than that. I've seen this record going for at least £20. So I thought £10 was a good price for that. Again, this one, I got a feeling I paid about a tenner for this as well. Magazine and real life. So I suppose part of the reason I'm showing these records is to demonstrate, if you're out there, you know, looking for records, maybe you're not been buying records for that long, or you don't have a huge amount of experience, you know, you see that record. There are certain shops, I know certain shops that would price that record up. I was going to say I don't want to name names, but I will name names. The shop X Records in Bolton, if they had that record in the racks, they would probably have it at about £35 to £40, and even then it would be scratched. You know, there are certain sellers which they just take the mickey. Again, this goes back to this thing about wanting a bargain. I just don't think it occurs to them sometimes to, you know, when they check a record on Discogs to find out how much it is worth, so-called, they will discover, okay, that record is worth £20. So therefore I will sell it for £20. Or some of them might even think, well, I'll sell it for more than £20, because if somebody buys it on Discogs, they're having to get the postage, you know, waiting for postage and stuff, whereas a person buying it in the shop can take it home that day. So that kind of seller mentality, the logic of it might go, well, okay, if Discogs has it for £20, I'll sell it for £30, because a person, you know, will see it there and go, well, I can take it home today. But I mean, you know, to me, that's wrong. If it's on Discogs for 20 and you're a market trader, or you've got an antiques stand in a stall or whatever, you know, knock £5 off it. Give your buyers a bargain. We want a bargain. This from Heightside, not in great condition. This was under a tenner. I think this was more like £6. Alice Cooper and Killer. And again, I've seen that record going for a lot more than that. This one, actually, this was bought in Moonlight Records in Wrexham a while back. I was really pleased with this. An 80s reissue, to be fair, but it is the first Weather Report album. I think I got that for, that might have been a £5, actually. It was a really, really good price. These two records were a real bargain. I bought these from Acorn Antiques in, or just outside Wrexham. And I was really chuffed with these. This is Runt, which is the first, I think the first Todd Rundgren record. I think I got this for £6 and it's in really good condition. I was chuffed with that. And this one was an absolute steal. I was really amazed by this one. This is New Order, and the record, I always forget the name of this record. It really annoys me because it's not on the cover, so I always forget its name. Low Life. That I bought that for £4, and that was a little bit freaky, actually. It's one of those records which, well, I would expect that to be marked up, you know, well over £10, but I got it for £4. You can be lucky sometimes in these antiques places where the sellers there, they don't really understand what records are worth, and they'll put stupid prices on things. They'll put, you know, £5 on Cliff Richard's greatest hits, and then they'll put £4 on you know, a New Order record or a Todd Rundgren record. They don't seem to have much logic, you know. It's all quite random, really. Okay, so what would I spend a little bit more on? So I'm going to show two records now that I bought for £20, and to me these are records which completely justify that. I very rarely go over £20. It's got to be something truly special for me to go over 20. I'll sometimes creep up to 25, but you know, 20 really is, that is the most I'm going to pay for a vinyl record when I'm out and about in the wild, digging around. So this is an example of one where I did pay £20. This is the Best of Muddy Waters, an absolutely legendary record bought from Oxfam here in Lancaster, and it was marked up at £20, and I bought it for that amount. So you know, it's got to be something like that for me. And then this one, also from that antiques place, Acorn Antiques, just outside Wrexham. This was an original mono copy of Please Please Me by the Beatles, with a little bit of felt tip writing on the top there, but I thought, you know, what the heck, I'll get it. Again, you know, £20, an original Beatles mono copy of their first album on beautiful yellow parlophone. That was just a no-brainer. So, but I mean, you know, that to me is an example of something I would pay £20 for. I'm not going to pay £20 for a copy of a Stranglers album. I'm not going to pay £20 for a copy of an Alison Moyet record. I mean, you see all sorts of stuff priced at £20 and more in certain places. So anyway, what is the point of this video? I suppose what I'm saying is that if we all had this buyer's mentality of like, we want a bargain, we demand a bargain, we're looking for a bargain, we're not looking to be fleeced, we're not looking to be ripped off. Record buyers are like any other buyers. We essentially want to buy something, but we don't want to break the bank. And I think there are some record sellers, too many record sellers out there, either just don't understand that, or they've not thought about it, or they just don't care, essentially. They see us as cash cows, essentially. And I mean, what really annoys me about this, I was just reading an article recently in The Guardian here in the UK. There's a very high proportion of people now who buy records and don't even listen to them, and don't even have record players. Are they buying them just to hang on the wall? Are they just buying them as status symbols? I don't know, but chances are these are the kind of people, the people who buy records without being able to listen to them. These are probably some of the people who are paying over the odds for these records, who are paying the silly prices because they have a completely, well, just a strange view of the whole thing. You know, perhaps they weren't around back in the day when records were the main way that you consumed music. And, you know, if you went to, you know, W.H. Smith's or Boots in your lunch break back in 1986, 87, buying a vinyl record did not break the bank. It wasn't like going out and buying a really kind of high-end piece of consumable stuff. It was just, you know, it was affordable. And increasingly nowadays it feels like it's not affordable, and you're buying over the odds for stuff which turns out to be not in great condition. And I do get a bit sick of it, really. Anyway, that's the video. As I said, I've been meaning to make it for a long time, but it was Bryan's video finally which decided to kick me out of their pants and do it. So let me know what you think. I'd be interested, if you're a record seller, I would be interested to hear your view of what I've said. I'm not tarnishing all record sellers with the same brush. I hope I've made that clear. You know, the height side guys that I deal with are really great. You know, I mean, they will often throw a free record in, they will knock a price down. They will do returns, you know, all kinds of things. I mean, they are a great example of really good record traders, but I know that there are other record traders out there who don't have the same approach, and record shops as well that don't have the same approach. So anyway, that's it, ramble over, that's enough. Thanks for watching. I will be back soon. Take care. Bye for now.